So before we start the show, I just wanted to let you know that my browser has been upgraded to the newest version. So now I'm running on Internet Explorer, or whatever this thing is called, the new one. Microsoft Edge, I'm sorry.
I like it. Microsoft Edge, I use the Chrome, and then I lost the one profile that had like all my bookmarks saved. But I think I found it, so...
Well,
but take 6,000. Like, I think that's like a world record you could do. Because, like, I hate Guinness, and I'll start our own world record company. Just make a movie where you have a silly scene, and you just do 6,000 takes. Set for the most takes for a single scene, right? That's got to be right.
Well, there was what was that famous director? He was known for doing a lot of takes.
Yeah.
And I can't remember his name, but he was known. I'm usually a 3 or 4 take guy.
You know what?
At the most 5.
I mentioned this before, and I think it's like somewhere on like Wikipedia. You could look it up. But
this podcast episode is not sponsored by ATG Cola.
Yeah. When we were in the old office, I was like, I got the family mug. I mentioned the movie Catch-22.
I've read like half the book.
You always read that book for school. It's like a school thing. And the book's good, but the movie is a great illustration of what like Hollywood was capable of in the 60s when you didn't have CGI and you wanted to like make some shit. Mm-hmm. I think it was like competitive. Like dudes wanted to win awards too. They're like, we want to do some shit that like nobody's ever seen or that's really difficult to do. And so when you watch it, you're like, how the fuck did they do that?
Correct.
And the first sequence is a continuous sequence, and it's insane of all these planes taking off, and like I'll always stick with me.
You showed me that clip. Yeah,
I was like, due to the cinematic abilities that they had in the 60s, like I don't know what the budget would be now. Maybe like they'd just use CGI. It's a lot cheaper. Like don't do that, whatever that costs, but it's amazing. So
what's
check
crazy is when people take like models of like airplanes or cars. And they make like a whole downtown scene and shit.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just models. And it's like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, the Japanese were the masters with Godzilla, right?
Oh, yeah.
All
I forgot
models.
that some of those, like because some of it's CGI, obviously, but then some of it's just model buildings and fake, like, obviously, little miniature. Because I watched a video on YouTube about that. I was like, what the fuck? That shit looks real as fuck.
It's real as fuck, man.
There was that famous guy that did that where he took model planes and he took, like, actual photographs with them. And he said they were from the, I think, World War I or World War II. And he tried to, or one of the wars, some war. And he tried to pass them off as real photos, but they're still worth money just because
they're so good.
Yeah. So it was kind of interesting that he took model planes and he made them look like they were real planes. He was like, yeah, these are pictures from the war.
It's amazing.
I can't remember what war it was. It's the United States. We go to war with everybody, it seems. But anyway.
We're the worst ally ever. Sorry, Kurdistan. Thanks for fighting alongside with us and paying in blood and then getting the fucking rug pulled on you. That's how good allies we are. What you got on tap for today, buddy? I know you got some good shit.
Well, this one, I know... The main thing I wanted to talk about is the UTSA Texas State game because it was wild. I was out filming. You were there in person.
Yep.
So you got a better perspective of what it was like to sit through that.
Insane game. Took forever. Yeah, we can definitely talk about that. I got all kinds of thoughts.
The Ohtani thing we just learned about last couple of days. The whole thing. That wasn't something I wanted to talk about. Just a quick little touch-up, I guess.
Ohtani, Texas State, yep.
So that was my main thing was a Texas State UTSA game. And then I have like a bunch of small notes of just like... Oh, the second thing that I want to talk about...
are we doing bumper music? Are you working in a little...
Oh, I forgot.
No, that's okay.
I was so hyped to talk that I just forgot to put it in. But the second... So obviously the first main point for me is a Texas State game. And the second thing I want to get into is aluminum bats versus wooden bats because I am still in aluminum... I prefer aluminum...
Yeah.
Bats, I prefer the sound of an aluminum bat, everything.
Man.
I know you're a wood bat, so I thought that would be kind of interesting to get into.
Yeah, that is an interesting conversation. Aluminum just makes up for a lot of the aluminum just gives you hits that they wouldn't really be hits. So that's
Yeah,
why
well,
offense
no,
is
for
like
sure.
makes
It's an added
offensive
power.
easier.
Yeah.
But like honestly, if you were swinging a wood or aluminum and you were just on a fastball and barreled it, it'd be a bomb with both.
Yeah, it's
you
gone.
know,
It's
like you had the
gone.
bat speed and you barreled it. But like the sweet spot's just smaller, and like in on the handle is so much more forgiving. With aluminum, it looks like a nice line drive out into left, line drive single. It's like, dude, that's total firewood with a wood bat.
I just like that ting, ting. I prefer the ting sound over a crack. And you would think as a baseball guy, you would think I prefer the crack. But
Yeah.
something about the ting I just love.
Well, that's a good topic.
But I don't want
What are your other little notes you got in there?
I just have the fucking Blake Snell finally got signed. You know, Zach Eflin was named as the Rays day one starter.
Eflin?
Yeah, he was a Phillies guy. This is, I believe, it's like his second year with the Rays. I believe.
Eflin. I'm so like, there's so many dudes I should know, but I don't. I don't
And
collect
then,
cards anymore. But.
MLB The Show 24, been playing that. I got it. I pre-ordered it, so I got it Friday. I've been playing the shit out of it. It's fun.
Can you go on and play the ATG dudes and go do all their stuff, play their historical rosters, and figure out like?
Yeah, because MLB The Show is cross-platform.
Yeah.
Last year on 23, I actually found their profile and I found all their stuff.
Oh, so you could go.
Yeah,
play,
I found
in
like their
those
logos
stadiums
and stuff. Yeah,
that's awesome.
but last year, I was playing on Last Gen, I guess as they call it.
Yeah,
So I wasn't able to do Stadium Creator.
yeah.
And I wasn't able to download stadiums, but I saw their profile, their logos and their stuff. But this year I haven't a newest Xbox, so I can do stadium thing. But yeah, dude, I was able to find other shit. But yeah, it's cross-platform.
Yeah.
So because you're a PlayStation guy, I would be able to play you if I wanted to.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. I'm just never on the video games anymore.
I suck at playing against other people. I've tried online a few times on last year's game, and no, I'm not good at it.
Yeah,
I suck at hitting.
I suck at hit. That was it. That's why my guy's still stuck in AA, just getting released. You know.
Because like I'm not good at knowing what pitch it is and what direction it's going. So I'm like, I think it's going here. I'm gonna swing at it.
Yeah.
And then I'm terrible.
That's funny.
But anyway, that's that.
That's good, bud. Segments I have are mainly historical, but UTSA, Texas State, I do have printed out so we can talk shop about NCAA records all time. NCAA season's kind of like hitting mid-stride here. East Carolina, I think they're top 15 ranked teams coming into San Antonio. Play them Roadrunners. So that would be an upset if they took 2 out of 3, frankly. It'd be an upset. If they swept, that'd be like a shock to the system. Talk Cleveland Spiders.
The
1899 Cleveland Spiders, arguably the greatest baseball team to ever play, in the sense that they just kept showing up and sucking because they were terrible.
We were saying earlier.
But there's something to be said for that.
It's a tough year to be a Cleveland Spiders fan. What was it, 1899 you said?
1899. My favorite year.
That's a tough year to be a fan. I remember it, man. It was a tough year.
That's when my alcoholism really just totally went vertical and peaked. Because I switched over to hard. Because Prohibition hadn't hit yet. And I was just like, let's get it. You know, these Cleveland Spiders, I put a huge preseason, like with the Rangers, where I was like going to win the World Series wager, you know. Before the year, I was like, mortgage the house, Spiders going all the way this year.
I was 9, so
fucking.
I wasn't allowed to have any kind of alcohol beverages. Back then it wasn't frowned upon. Kids drank and smoked, but I was like, no, not for me.
No, that's how it was. There was no drinking age. So I got NCAA records, Cleveland Spiders, and then I got 3 guys I found fucking around on StatHead. Hal Trotsky, very interesting career. And the reason you never heard of that dude, because he overlapped with first baseman like Lou Gehrig and these other just dudes who were crushing. So you're just like, what? But he had an insane season. Then Elmer Vallow, born in Czechoslovakia.
Oh, yeah. He's,
Yeah.
I remember him. No, I don't.
Old Eastern Bloc country, Elmer Vallow. He was awesome. And then old Ronnie Hunt. Ron Hunt. He had some interesting hit by pitch statistics.
Does Ronnie Hunt still drive his Trans Am?
He does.
Okay. He just sounds like the type of guy.
Okay, so Ronnie Hunt had an IROC.
Yeah,
remember?
Even better.
Yeah, he got the Trans Am after the IROC.
Okay.
Because he would come up the street and just fucking peel out. We'd be out there like skating and playing wiffle ball, and he'd just lay down all this rubber and then throw a beer can at us. He was just like the big kid in the neighborhood. And then, like, whatever, we started going to high school, and then Ronnie Hunt shows up in a Trans Am, and now he's selling, dime bags. He was a bad kid, dude.
I remember his IROC because I remember he was always eating fucking hot dogs from 7-Eleven.
Yeah, he was a tough one, but he did.
I was like, there's other food options, right, besides gas station hot dogs.
Ronnie Hunt didn't know that, but he had to hang around 7-Eleven because that's where he sold his dime bags. But Ronnie Hunt played for a lot of teams, including the Montreal Expos. I think he was there the first season as they were expansion. And
so this was the 60s, right?
Yeah, he was like 59 in the minors and then made it to the show there in the 60s. So full-on sideburns action. But Ronnie Hunt's a fun one. And then I guess the last one I want to tease, this isn't a segment. I want to go dive deeper. But I don't know if you saw, it was like, what's your greatest baseball achievement,
Oh, yeah.
And Bonnie
I saw Bonnie
like,
post that, yeah.
He was like adult, like Arkansas senior MVP. And I was like, oh, man, a lot of times when you play senior league baseball, there's like a stat sheet or somebody keeps a web page. It's like, tell me there's a stat sheet for that, And Bonnie fucking posted it. And Bonnie was nasty. Fucking nasty. And they even had like write-up synopsises of the game. So I kind of want maybe like next show if I can get Bonnie on the phone because I never talked to those dudes. Just like do like a 60 minutes interview with him for like 30 minutes.
I can bring because I have this adapter to my phone and we could plug it into here and we could just have him go through here.
I was going to do like maybe like a pre-recorded piece and just come to you with like all the answers, like the Q&A on what Bonnie said. I mean, we could do it live probably. But I was like, I wanted to just like corner him on the phone and ask him all these like baseball questions about his career.
We could slice it in.
And then like I could go over with you, dude. Like the Jason Bonneville's quite intriguing baseball personality, in my opinion. As is Mo Jorgen, but I need to know more. If he's that nasty of a pitcher, like that's you in senior league. And there's other dudes there that are like senior league heroes. Like I played at Wichita State, and he's just dominating all these like former dudes. So I need to know more about Bonnie's.
There's just some dudes that were meant to play baseball.
Yeah.
I feel like he's one of them.
I feel like Bonnie maybe was just overlooked by the show. It
is weird sometimes. Like players who baseball fans know, they look at him like, okay, this is a good player, but scouts are like, well, It's like, no.
Yeah, there's that dude in the Texas League. I know it's windy out there, West Texas. The guy hit like 70 homers. Or like he hit like, and then I think that was when, because that was like unaffiliated, like Texas Western League or wherever that shit was, like in the 50s. But then there was like, he was in we talked about it one show, he was in the AA for the Brewers or Braves. He hit like 50 fucking homers. They're like, yeah, we're not going to move you up. Just go back to AA next year. I was like, what's a dude got to do? Anyway.
Sometimes those minor leaguers, though, are just there for the roster spot.
I guess.
They have no desire to ever do shit with
I forget that dude's name. It was like Joe something, but he hit like 50, and then he was like making so much money with like his gas stations out there in New Mexico. He's like, I'll just play in the Texas League and do my gas station. I'm making more money than the...
Okay, so you're from... Oh, no, you're not from. But you said you mentioned gas stations in New Mexico. Did you spend time there or no?
Well, we played a lot out that way.
Okay,
being in
so
Christian.
At the time, did they have any Allsups?
Yeah, Allsups are everywhere.
Okay, cool. Okay, the reason I mentioned that is because I knew a guy from Arizona, and he Allsups were a thing. And we had one in Dallas where I lived. It was in Allsups. And I brought it up one day as a joke, like, oh, yeah, dude, let's go to Allsups. He's like, oh, dude, I fucking love Allsups. I thought it was just a local thing there in town.
Way back home, that open sign was always on. About the only thing we'd ever get was that Allsups burrito
I didn't realize that it started out like in Arizona or wherever that place is.
But I don't really get that because Allsups.
I love
I've been to a million Allsups. I was like, dude, isn't it just like a regular corner store though? Just a chain.
It's magical. And I say that because their chimichangas was amazing, and then their house sauce, they come in these little packets. Dude, so fucking good. So fucking good.
Here's some. I don't know what
I will say this right now. If you want to like make me super stoked, gas station chimichangas, I love them.
Well, here's one. Here's a gas station banter for you.
I love them.
That's not gonna fucking work. Dude,
Oh,
tell
here you
me, because I'm old. I'm old as fuck. But you got an extra? Nice.
You get there's like 4. Hold on. There's like 2 more. So
Tell me if you remember this. So like back in the day when I went to like 70, there would be like one actual fucking video game. You know, like Street Fighter or some shit. The kids would be in
the
there.
gas station.
Yeah, at the inside the 7-Eleven. And so like I think it was like it made money. It was probably a moneymaker. But then like people be hanging out and now they're gonna want a Slurpee and some Twinkies, so you're keeping kids hanging around. But then it was like, well, maybe we don't want people hanging around because they're stealing shit. I don't really know why that went away, but that was like almost a consistent thing that there was like a video game in all these filling stations. So.
I know when I was a kid in the 90s, I remember seeing them like here and there. But consoles, the rise of consoles back then is what kind of killed the arcades because people was like, well, I can stay at home and play this game.
That's true. You couldn't get that shit at
Why
home.
go spend quarters all day when I can just sit at my house and play it?
Yeah.
But I do remember when I was a kid, I do remember them briefly. Like, they weren't like, at least where I lived, there weren't arcades and gas stations weren't a huge thing, but I do remember them slightly.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah, I think that's what killed it was console stuff.
Anyway.
There are some episodes I was like that I go back and listen to, and I made mistakes on names and shit of people and players, and I was like, "Oops, I'm just gonna leave that mistake in." Looks like you're about to go hit some dingers right before you go to work.
Yeah, got these.
When you had the one glove on, you look like a fucking golfer. So,
dude, like 100 pence, man, no batting gloves.
Old school style.
That's why Kyle Tucker couldn't hit in the postseason. He's wearing batting gloves. Kyle Tucker's the barehanded man. The lumberjack. Good stuff, man. Good pre-show banner talk there. Talk about anything.
You ever notice on the topics we put like long intro?
Long intro. That's a long intro.
Because sometimes some podcasts and baseball shows, I listen to the intros maybe like 5 minutes. We're like, nah, we're gonna ramble for a while, then we'll get into it.
20 years and change. Well, this is more than just a phase. I found something that I can believe in. When things are getting tough and I feel like giving up, I remember what my one friend said to me. You're never gonna be normal. You're never gonna be normal. You're never gonna be normal 'cause you're a punk.
Well, you want to kick off with the UTSA?
Let's do it.
You want to do it? Pitching by committee, both teams.
Yeah.
I will say a lot of river monsters represented on both sides, which was nice to see. That's why it's tough to root. Like, I don't root really. I'm not like anti-Texas State. You got Augie Ramirez up there. You know, you got Alex Gonzalez. You got dudes that are just Seguin River Monster studs. You want to see even crazier? So, like, you know how the River Monsters, like, had all these dudes and some guys were just there for, like, a week, and then gone? The closer for Texas State that almost blew it, he gave up a 2-run homer to make it a 1-run ball game in the bottom, like, top of the 9th. They were up by 3. Diego Diaz, somebody walked. Hector Rodriguez walked. Seguin River Monster legend. Again, true freshman comes up, hits a 2-run bomb. That pitcher, Lippy, Mike G was like, that dude was a River Monster. I was like, I don't remember him. He's like, no, he was, I swear we had that guy. And then he looked it up on Baseball Reference. We had that guy for 1 game.
Hey,
he pitched 1 inning and gave up like 3 runs. But Lippy, yeah, he was a River Monster too. It was crazy.
That one dude hit 2 fucking grand slams.
Yeah, dude, they were hitting.
I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. If it's Daylan or Dylan. Like, it's spelled Daylan. I don't know if you pronounce it Daylan or Dylan spelt weird. I don't know.
Yeah, no.
But anyway, Dylan or Daylan Pena, yeah.
Pena did.
Hit some
I
dingers.
think there was a dude, Holloway, absolutely golfed one onto the softball field. Diego Diaz for the Roadrunners went bomb. Caleb Hill hit another one.
I mean, shit, it was 14 to 13.
I think Odom jacked one. I love Odom's swing, but I mean I don't think it's as big a rivalry for Texas State as UTSA views it. I've always heard that.
I know for Texas State people,
like they're looking at UT like that's their rivalry. Like you think we're just this party state school and you're the big baseball powerhouse in Texas. So I think Texas State looks at UT like we're going to take you down, and then it's like UT is reversed. Like we don't care. We just care about the A&M rivalry.
well, I've spoke to on Twitter. I spoke to some Texas State fans who look at it as a rival, and then some that don't. So,
I mean, for UTSA it is. They like taking them down. But
dude, UTSA fans talk so much shit, dude. It's like, dude, shut the fuck up.
Shout out to Dan Neerdahl, man.
Like no one,
after
your opinion is invalid. Shut up. No one cares.
Dan Neerdahl, fearless man.
And I get I don't talk shit specifically because when I do, I lose my cool, and I'm just like, shut the fuck up. Like I end up becoming obnoxious and losing all sensibility, reality. Like, you know what I'm saying? I started making no sense.
I'll say this. Dan Neerdahl was going after it, and we weren't about to brawl. It was friendly banter.
Because it was in San Marcos, right?
It was in San Marcos, so just surrounded by, like, Texas State, like, college kids. And it was just, like, jawing back and forth, all about the game, totally clean, but, just poking each other. And I was like, it's fine. It's the first inning. But the problem, like, if that would have kept up, those little frat dudes were, like, hammering White Claws or whatever they were drinking. Like, it was going to, like, if that level was kept up for, like, by the third inning, then it could have got interesting.
They don't call it Slam Marcus for a reason. But, yeah.
Yeah.
I would have definitely been saying some
awesome.
I would have been saying some shit, too. If I was there, I would have definitely been.
Because the first inning and the third inning and a half were insane.
Took forever.
But, yeah. It was a lot of hitting. I'd like to see Olivo was studly. I thought Olivo was studly, but Olivo had a couple fielding mistakes, which could hurt you. And then
I'm looking at the pitchers that were used, and there's so many from each side.
You know who really did good, whose numbers didn't maybe show it, was Herbacek did great, and Zach Longshore, Seguin River Monster, TLU transfer, also came in and did real good. And honestly, it wasn't the guys that were throwing 90-92. It was the dudes like Herbacek that came in and slowed you down and threw the 76-mile-an-hour changeup and broke something off and had you, like, out in front of the change. And then when they came back with, like, 88, 89, you were way late. So, like, but, yeah, UTSA and Texas State, both sides looked like they got some dudes. Pitching, obviously, with scores like that, dude, pitching is your issue. And I thought UTSA had good pitching, but, like, you just got to hit more corners or get the fastball in the hands. I don't know. But Hallmark wasn't close to getting run, but he gave the umpire earful again. That was nice.
So is that kind of his thing? His yelling at the umpires?
No, I don't think it is. I think he's just, like, consistently holds the line. And I think that's good to be super consistent with the way he does it. Where if you're going to have a bullshit strike zone, he's going to come down and give you an earful because I think it's going to make the umpires call a better game and tighten up because they know they can't screw around. Because what had happened was the Texas State dugout wanted all these strike calls. They're like, it's a strike. So they're getting all over the ump. So that's a strike. He's calling these balls because they walked Hector or whatever. Somebody walked, and then they're all over him. So the next pitch was a really high. It was a high strike, if it was a strike at all. It was a ball. And so he called that a strike, and Hallmark was like, dang it, you're freaking calling that shit because those guys are getting on you. Ain't no makeup calls. That's a fucking ball. So he went down there, like, came out of third base box, went all the way down and gave an earful. I was like, dude, this is awesome. It was a crazy game, man. Texas State Bobcats, man, they almost blew it. Because, frankly, they didn't score shit until, like, after the third.
I mean, if you take away those 2 grand slams.
Yeah. If you don't give up 9 runs in the first inning.
I mean, granted, the bases were loaded, obviously. But you probably got, if you wouldn't hit a grand slam, who knows how many runs you would have drove in, you know? Maybe 1 or 2 of those guys may have came across the plate, who knows? But
yeah,
the 2 grand slams definitely helped.
Here's what I'm here's what I'm saying for the pitching. If you're working on another pitch that's a sinker, like some kind of splitty, some kind of like knuckle curve, or like two finger pressure sinker, or whatever you're doing to take something off and make it dive, and you haven't had the game confidence to throw it, start throwing it, because you need to get some ground balls, man. Dudes are hitting dongs left and right. You gotta get the pitching. Pitchers need to start working in that experimental pitch right now.
Bring back the ephus.
More change-ups. Yeah, bring in the ephus.
Just
Throw a high school curve in there at 60 like Greinke.
Just toss it up there.
Yeah, man. We got dudes are sitting fastball, and even these hard sliders are just getting rocked.
I like the art of like slow pitches, you know? Like I love heat obviously, but like when someone can dominate with a nice slower pitch,
Yeah.
it's great.
Because I know somewhere deep down in my heart, I still love you.
So while he's looking for his thing, here's what happened. So basically, we had been filming, right? And we've been talking for like an hour and a half, and all that is gone now. So
gone.
you'll never get to hear the goodness that came out of that. However,
Solved a lot of the world's problems
yeah.
in that time, I'll tell you
but
that.
luckily no one heard that because that's our secret. And by the way, I'm gonna be eating pretzels while we talk.
Yeah, we got some good pretzels. Took a little break. We got bumper music going there? Is it still just cruising?
No, I don't.
Let's get some coming back from the Texas State thing that got cut off, but we're pretty much wrapped with that.
Here's what we're gonna do.
We're gonna tunes in there.
We're gonna pick a random number, and we're gonna start it. I don't know what song this is, but I'm gonna use it.
Yeah, we were talking Shohei. We talked about some crazy ball players. I don't know if I'm going to bring up those dudes again. Some NCAA records. We did make some interesting points. I do think there should be a separate NCAA record books for pre-aluminum and post-aluminum. Because like if you had the home runs with Wood and then Pete Incaviglia came up and blew you out, you'd be like, dude, come on now.
See, wearing these headphones will help me remind and turn it down. Because remember that one time
Yeah.
I had it playing for like 20 minutes?
Yeah.
But
You can turn it down pretty low and still hear to talk over it.
yeah, that's what I'm doing now. But that one time I for some reason, had it up loud, and I forgot that it was there, and we're sitting there talking. So I'm going to turn it down now. That way it's just like an opener. But
yeah. I don't know what we
that
covered.
that was the opera song. I don't know where that came from, but
Yeah.
that was the opera song.
Well, good. I like that one.
You know, so headphones are important. Otherwise, I would just let it play. These pretzels are good, by the way. What is it, Dots?
Mm-hmm. Here's a picture, Dot.
Oh, so
She's
it's
on
nice.
there.
Oh shit!
It's like Dave Thomas owned Wendy's. There you go. She makes some good pretzels.
I'm eating into the mic, but so anyway, we were before the camera stopped recording. We were getting into the Ohtani allegations that came out, whatever you want to call it, with the betting scandal with his translator, right?
Yep.
His translator was, I guess, paying debts back that he owned. Like, what was it, $500,000 or something?
Yeah.
So,
what I heard. This is what I heard. All right. The LA Mafia runs things a little bit different, but there's a dude out there called Tony Fats. Okay. And Tony Fats, notorious, if you get behind 50K, he's breaking your kneecaps. Okay. Ipe gets behind 50K instantly. Huge wager. Okay. Huge wager on the Royals to win the World Series. It's fucking down hard. Okay. Tony Fats is like, I'm going to break your knees. He goes, whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm juiced in with the Yakuza. I don't think you want to play that game. I need a marker. I need some mad credit with the LA Mafia to gamble as much as I want to gamble. And then he just goes, it's like, call back to Japan, check in. Ipe's hooked up. He's connected. He's a made man. Can't kill him. Can't break his kneecaps. Give him a huge marker. The Yakuza's good for it. Shohei knows all this. He's already a Yakuza member. Then he proceeds to suck at betting for a few more, right? Gets down like $4 million. They're like, we can't kill him. He's untouchable. And then, you know, they're like, well, Shohei's good for it. He's making millions. And basically that's what it is. I'm pretty
In the
sure.
middle of your take, I decided to pour me some chips.
Yeah, get some chips in there.
Anyway.
But, I mean, it's clear as day what I described is exactly what's happening. I don't know why the reporters can't figure that out.
All I know is that if it does come out that Ohtani was part of the gambling too,
Yeah.
and like I said, MLB has a lifetime ban for that kind of shit, right?
Well,
I think because he's the face of baseball right now,
yeah.
that they may kind of
Sweep it under the rug.
yeah. Because, like, you can't afford to lose your star because, I mean, baseball doesn't have, as far as marketing goes, there's not a lot of stars. And the fact that you have one, you're not going to be like, he's lifetime banned. I don't know. Maybe they do. Maybe they're like, well, you know what? Fuck this shit. You're banned. But I think they wouldn't ban him. They would sweep it under the rug. Because I don't think they want to lose the face of their because Pete Rose obviously was a star, but back then it was because it came out afterwards, right? That he got caught. Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, I'm rooting for the gambling on all levels. Texas, I like. This is a great gambling story. I know you've never heard this one, but this should happen maybe to Ipe, if I'm saying his name right. Was it Ipe?
While you tell the
Ipe?
story, I'll eat my chips.
Eat your chips. You familiar with Benny Binion? Benny Binion, famous Texas mobster.
Never heard the guy.
You ever heard of Binion's Casino in Las Vegas?
Nope.
Okay. Well, Benny Binion probably killed some people. There's accounts of that. But Texas is famous for gambling. Oh, they got Texas Hold'em poker. These dudes all go all these towns, all these like little farmhouses out in the country, like full casinos in there, dudes in there gambling, drinking. Everything was just, you know, I think the law looked the other way in half of it. Like the sheriff's probably in on the poker game. A lot of gamblers and hustlers came out of Texas, and Benny Binion was one of them. He was a hard dude. Pretty funny character by all accounts if you talk to him, but he'd still blow you away. Anyway, he goes out Vegas after hustling it up in Texas with a lot of gambling houses, starts a casino. Go ahead.
While I'm thinking about this, so talk about Texas Hold'em and gambling in Texas. So my thinking was this. I was like, okay, the game Texas Hold'em, is it from Texas or is that just what they called it? So I looked it up, and this is, now granted, this is on Wikipedia, so take this, you know, as you will. But it says, although little is known about the invention of Texas Hold'em, the Texas legislature, I struggle with that word. Anyway.
Legislature?
Yeah, there we go. Officially recognizes Robstown, Texas, as the game's birthplace, dating to the early 20th century. So Texas Hold'em officially is from Texas.
Well, they were such gamblers and they played so many cards. I'm sure all the other states did too. But
Sorry to interrupt your story, but I had to put that little thing
But
in
yeah,
there.
anyway. No, that's good. But Benny Binion, this is why I'm getting back to Ipe and Shohei. Once he moved out to Vegas, there's so much gambling. There's just so much money in Dallas. All these gamblers, they would go out to Vegas for the weekend, gamble it up, lay all their sports bets, and dudes would get in the hole. And it was getting to the point where so much money from like Dallas, like North Texas businessmen was owed in Vegas, and these dudes were just like flying back and acting like it was never going to catch up with them. This guy showed up at an emergency room in Dallas missing an arm. His arm had been chopped off, and he wouldn't talk. Like, he wouldn't talk to the cops. He wouldn't talk to the doctors. They treated him. They stitched it up. Never found the arm. Wouldn't say anything for like a week. And then he told the story. He said, I got my arm chopped off because I owed money to some bad dudes for sports bets in Vegas. And they told me, don't say anything for a week. And then after a week, tell everybody, including the newspapers. And then when that happened, everybody in Texas who owed money to the gamblers in Vegas flew out there and settled up their debts. I think Benny Binion might have had something to do with that. I'm not saying Ipe is going to get his arm chopped off, but if you're in the hole $4 million, you might end up in the trunk of Tony Fats.
It's good.
That's all I'm saying.
That's a good marketing technique. It's like, look,
Didn't kill the guy.
If you don't pay back your money, this will be nothing compared to what we'll do.
Yeah.
And think about it, is like the mobsters and shit, they don't fucking ask questions. They don't tell you. They just do it. No. So, like, for example, if you owed money to them and they want that money by April 1st and you don't have April 1st, they're just going to do what they do. They're not going to say, hey, where's my money? None of that. They're just going to, you know what I'm saying? So, like, they're like, yeah, dude, once that guy told all the stories about his arms, like, oh, shit, we better pay.
Ken Phelps.
Ken Phelps?
Ken Phelps.
Ken Phelps.
Ken Phelps.
I was up early.
Ken helps. Ken helps.
Ken helps. That'd be his campaign slogan.
Ken helps.
Vote Ken because
you can.
And why?
Because you can.
Why would you vote Ken?
Because you can.
Why? What's his motto?
Because you can.
You got problems, and Ken wants you to vote because why?
Because you can.
God damn it, because Ken helps.
The mob is a bunch of bullies.
Also,
they run a good business, but
underrated movie on the LA mob. Made with John Favreau. One of my favorite movies. You ever see that? Fucking Vince Vaughn, hilarious. It's so good.
Anyway. I've never seen it, no.
But yeah, that's the Shohei thing. I mean, it's a whole Yakuza mafioso thing, and it's all going to get swept under the rug.
I think if it does come out that he was part of gambling too, yeah, they're not going to give him a lifetime ban because like Pete Rose came out after baseball. I wonder what would have happened if it would have came out during his playing time when he was still in the league. They would have banned him.
I know you're rich, but you know when $4 million is missing from a bank account.
Yeah.
Plus he wired him one. I
find it very hard to believe that he wasn't aware of that. Like how do you? I don't understand. That makes no sense.
Like if your interpreter comes to you and says, "Hey, I need $500,000," your first question is probably going to be for what?
Now, wouldn't also at the same time, because that's such a large amount, wouldn't the bank contact you?
Yeah, I mean, you got to like approve the wires and all that. So if he's going, yeah, like if that much money's missing in your bank account, the first question is for what? And when Ipe's like remodeling my basement, okay, cool. The next $500,000, putting in a koi pond. Okay, like at some point, Shohei ain't gonna be able to say, I didn't know I wasn't giving this dude money for gambling. And then Ipe's like, well, you know, like Shohei didn't ask enough questions, or he had. I wonder if he's known the dude for like 10 years.
Here's what I'm thinking. I wonder if like his translator was also on the account, and so like when he would take that money out, they contacted him too.
I don't know how
maybe
that works.
Because like how that's the only reason I can think of because, like I said, there's no way that $4 million comes out without you getting contacted by the bank.
That's so funny. And I would also venture, like, okay, so you're Shohei, I'm Ipe. I was like, hey, give me $500,000. March Madness is coming up. I'm going to go crazy. You're with this guy every day. And if you're a gambler, you get so fucking pumped when you win. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't shut up about it. You're like, you're like watching the game on your phone. Fucking Davidson covered. Hell yeah. Like, you're psyched. You're totally psyched. So if your translator was gambling these amounts of money on the days where he was winning, you knew it. You totally knew that dude was gambling because he was like, so pumped.
It's like, what, you're going to cover lunch today?
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
shit, okay.
Yeah, well, he's like, why are you so interested in this Loyola Marymount game? He's like, I didn't know you were really into NCAA basketball. Why do you care so much about Loyola Marymount? He's like, shut up right now. It's fourth quarter. Shut up. I'll tell you later.
Why are you so concerned with this guy and how many points he scores?
Yeah.
I'm kind of confused.
Like, what's your deal? You seem really invested in this, like, Scandinavian, badminton game. It's like, I'll tell you later. Like, he knew. So whether it was on game, probably not on games, but still.
Oh yeah, dude. Ohtani knows some shit. He's bullshitting us. Oh, I didn't know. Okay, yeah, whatever, dude.
Yeah, there's no way his translator kept that under the rug if he's gambling those amounts. So fun one. That's a fun one. Schnell to the Giants. I don't think that made it into our first video.
2-year deal, $62 million.
Yep.
I would have took the $150 million and signed with the Yankees, but that's just me.
And that would have been the right move. My theory was.
I'm not sure how many years it was for, but I mean,
it was. Yeah, it was longer though. I mean, it was like 4 years or something.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking because he doesn't have any sort of long-term security that Schnell's just going to keep dealing and putting up Cy Youngs because he's like, I can't take my foot off the gas.
It's like a 2-year deal now, 2-year prove-it deal instead of a 1-year deal.
Yeah, and he can opt out. So 1 year maybe in San
Dude,
Fran.
I really hope that Snell has a good year this year because if he doesn't, dude, all this shit's going to come to his way.
Yeah, I
mean,
mean,
7-year deal. What's this?
If he does have a middling year, because I don't think he's going to get rocked. I think his stuff is too good to just suck. But if he has a middling year, I still think you can probably get him a pretty decent contract just because of his stuff, but it will be a lot less than you probably could have peaked out at this year.
Especially at his age of 31.
Yeah, the aging curve's not doing that guy's any favor.
They'll like you said, they had a middle of the road year. They're like, well, this could be the start of his downfall. Right?
You know, and
somebody would say that for sure. Obviously,
everybody's pooing on Boris, which maybe deserves
Scott
some
Boras.
blame because isn't this like the same way that Schnell ended up in San Diego without a long-term deal? He keeps asking for these mega deals, and then Schnell's getting these 2-year stints everywhere.
There's
that's when he should got the long-term contract
and
coming out of Tampa.
I said this last night because I was watching State of the Franchise's stream last night, and we were talking in the chat while he was playing, and I'd brought up I have a problem with these players trying to get these deals, but at the same time I don't blame them for trying to get the most they can get.
Yeah.
Like I'll bitch all day. That 7-year deal, that much money is stupid. But like if I was a player, I'd do the same thing.
And I can't remember Schnell's free agency if that was like a trade from Tampa and he still had they were taking on Tampa's contract or ARB contract or whatever it was. I can't remember, but there's his agent's not doing his job, frankly.
See, he could have had a World Series in his name, but the manager was like, "No, you're done. We're taking you out."
The Kevin Cash pull.
But that's a whole nother story.
That's a 45-minute segment. We probably beat that dead horse a couple episodes ago, but good stuff there.
It's just funny.
What other moves in the free agent? We're talking about Greinke needs to get signed. Votto, you called that.
He got signed by I think, what's his name, Montgomery is still out there, I think.
Yeah, Jordan Montgomery unsigned.
I just think that teams aren't taking chances as much as they used to on players, as far as
it's tough when you're
long-term
older.
deals and shit, yeah.
Because what we can't see, you can't see for why don't you sign a Votto is what their belief is in their prospects or guys that they want to get playing time at the major league level at first base or whatever. So, yeah, you don't have a full picture of some of the prospects like with San Diego and their catcher, you can see things coming down the pipeline, but Votto's running up against age and then the younger guys. But I still think he was a better option for so many teams out there if you're trying to win because it's a math game. If you're playing Moneyball, that dude is way above what sort of offense you were going to produce. Like the Colorado Rockies have no excuse. I mean, Jays needed a first baseman, so Brandon Belt, who knows where he's going. I think he's still free agent, but, good stuff.
It'd be cool to see Toronto do some good shit, but like always, they'll fuck up in the playoffs. But
yeah, I'm excited for the other spring training. I'm excited because Jackson Holiday and Wyatt Langford, all these young dudes coming in the league.
Baltimore is gonna they're
superstars.
They're on their dynasty starting right now. They're starting.
They
their
got
dynasty.
some young dudes. They're looking real good.
If they pan out, yeah. But it looks like they are gonna pan out.
Yeah.
So it's a good time to be a Baltimore fan.
Good for MILB Happy Jake. Out there doing it. He released a new one on a pirate guy. I haven't checked that one out, but it looks good.
And in the real world, the villain kicks the hero's ass, and the hero gets up and he gets a part-time job at an Applebee's. 'Cause real life ain't like the movies.
I finally did get around to watching the Yogi Berra Getting Over documentary.
Shit.
It was pretty good.
Was it good? Good.
That was real good.
Well, you're a Yogi guy, so
What's that?
you're a Yogi guy.
I love Yogi, and I'll say one thing about that documentary. Great documentary, watch it. But I hadn't because when you put a documentary like that, you have to go scouring through all the footage you can find, right? So they found footage of Yogi hitting that I had not seen. And I knew, I mean, you can look up, everybody knows Yogi was like 5'8", 5'9", like 170, not a huge dude, you know, but he crushed. His offensive stats for a catcher was so productive with power, like amazing. And he was a notorious, like, bad ball hitter out of the zone. But I'd never really seen...
Like Vladimir Guerrero Sr.?
Yeah, I'd never seen footage, I guess, of him, like, reaching, you know, for, like, something he decided I was out of the zone or out in front. But in that movie, there's a couple snippets where you can see him. They're talking about his bad ball hitting, and it shows him, like, reaching and barreling up these balls. And I thought to myself, I was like, man... It'd have been so great to see Yogi play in person because the only other guy I've seen that's that good of a bad ball hitter and not getting – I mean, he gets fooled, but he still gets good wood on the ball is Altuve. And I was like, man, that's – I mean, it's obvious different sides of the plate. Altuve is a right-handed hitter. But I remember seeing some games in Houston, and Altuve was like 3 for 4, and even his outs were hit hard. And it just seemed – even when Altuve gets out in front of a breaking ball, he could reach and take a handoff and barrel it with decent bat speed. And I was like, man, I bet that's how Yogi was, just scary to pitch to him because he's just constantly finding the barrel. But anyway, that was an interesting like hitter's perspective in that movie of footage with Yogi swinging at some bad balls. So I like that.
I was muting my mic when I was talking.
Oh, yeah.
Because I didn't want to get the crunch and on the chip. But anyway, I wonder if it's like, if it helps. I don't know if it does. Like I said, I've never played professional baseball or college level baseball. But I wonder if it helps that you're shorter so you can kind of see the area better instead of being tall and kind of.
I don't know. You know, that's the beauty of baseball. All different sizes. But maybe. Maybe so.
Just a thought. I was thinking, not sure.
Some good ball players out there. I looked at Augie Gallan. I had these dudes. I'm not really going to talk about them now, but Hal Trosky, check that dude out. Old Ron Hunt. Hit by pitch 50 times in a flipping season. Still blows my mind. Check out Hal Trosky's seasons. And then you got old Elmer Valo out of Czechoslovakia. Valo. Elmer Valo. That got eaten in the recorder, which stopped, which is still on with the red light. But
yeah. So now I'm gonna be like looking at this thing every 5 seconds.
Yeah,
I'm not looking at the camera as far as like to be funny. Like I'm making sure the light doesn't go off.
But the saved segment I got is for the 1899 Cleveland Spiders.
So, sorry. Smoking those darts.
You ain't helping, man. My home life's falling apart, bro.
You know what? It looks like your true colors are starting to show. You're just as bad as me.
Do I need to tell you I'm missing mortgage payments? Okay? Nobody watching this shit.
I don't give a fuck. It's not my problem.
Kids are talking back. I'm reading books on parenting. They don't want to hear it.
Before our segment was cut short because the camera was like, I don't want to hear you talk anymore, we were getting into aluminum bats and wood bats talk. And I said, I prefer aluminum bats. I think it's cooler that they have a little power boost to them. And I prefer the ding sound, the ding, over the wood crack bat. And also, I was like, you would think as a baseball guy, I would prefer wood bat. But I'm like, nah, aluminum bat's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have a I like the way it is now. I mean, I like aluminum bats. The college game is a really fun game to watch. The advantages of aluminum, I think, are primarily you just can get away with getting jammed or in on the handle more and still line a single. But a little bit more pop. But even if you barrel up a good wood with the same bat speed, it's going. But yeah, I like them both. I prefer the Major League game with wood. It's like I'm nostalgic about all the old days. All the records were set with wood, so you can't do that. That's why I was like, you should have 2 NCAA record books, really.
Yeah.
Because you had different equipment that makes a significant difference.
It's aluminum bats is like the wooden bat, but it's like the steroid users.
Yeah, I bet you. I'll tell you one record I bet would have been very different with aluminum is Robin Ventura set the NCAA record for hits, like hit streak, like a DiMaggio type hit streak going in college, and I bet a couple of those were aluminum. aluminum liners.
Definitely gave him a little a hit boost.
Yeah, aluminum liners in the hole. So I don't know. I think there should be 2 record books for that. But Dan Neerdahl made an interesting point on bunting, where you want the wood, deaden it a little bit more.
Yeah, because that makes more sense because the aluminum bat would make that shit probably pop.
Yeah, honestly, when you're bunting with aluminum, you're trying to hit it you're not trying to cap it off the end, but you're trying to miss the sweet spot and hit it on the last couple inches of the bat because it's much more dead, and you just drop it down third if you can. But
bunting would be definitely harder with aluminum.
Yeah,
because it wouldn't die. Whatever you want to call it.
I mean, well, there's I guess different bunts, like a push bunt. If you're trying to get it by the pitcher, pop it off the sweet spot, but. Who knows? I like it. It's interesting to think about. There's so many manufacturers now. You had all the history on Easton and the green Easton and all that stuff was interesting. I just remember that big gold and black, the Black Magic they called it. Easton was pretty classic. A lot of records.
Oh, another thing before I forget, I want to add this before we stop talking about this. And you said this doesn't make sense, and it doesn't make sense to me either. It kind of does, but not really. So. In the 80s, when these aluminum bats first started coming out, right? They said this is from the baseballlifestyle.com. So this is a website.
Some of these websites ain't right because that one about the walks was totally wrong. I was right. Barry Bonds does have.
And this
walks.
one says so the aluminum bat, which was the BESR Besser ball exit speed ratio bat, says this bat was designed
It's a terrible acronym, by the way.
To increase the speed at which a ball exited the bat and to reduce the risk of injury to players.
Totally contradictory statement.
So
doesn't make any sense.
I'm trying to understand what this website anyway is saying about this apparent reason this bat came
Exit
out.
velo is not going to make it safer. That's why they went from -5s back to -3s because they're like, dude, people are just jacking exit velos are too great. We got to slow down these aluminum bats.
So I'm just trying to figure out what they mean to increase the speed at which the ball exited the bat and to reduce the risk of injury.
You'll never make any sense of that.
I mean,
can't make any sense of that.
You're swinging the same way, right? No matter what you use, aluminum wood, right? You might be swinging a little bit harder with a wood bat, but I don't.
You don't know.
To me, in my head, maybe this sounds stupid. It doesn't make sense, but to me, saying you have. If you walk, you have a better chance of not getting hurt as if you run or something, right?
I don't know.
I don't know what I'm trying to say, but in my head, it makes perfect sense.
I'm just saying if they thought it sped up exit velocity or hit the ball harder, then why is that safer? That's why that statement doesn't make sense to me.
This is just a website because who knows? But that's what the baseballlifestyle.com.
Speaking of which, actually, wood versus aluminum, good point. Riku Nishida. I got it backward. Riku Nishida.
Here's what we need to do.
Yeah.
We need to take some Luna bats and be like, hey, bat bros, we can go to the park too and hit dingers. So you and I need to go.
Corked bats.
You and I need to go take some Luna bats and do a little video like that. I think that'd be fun to do that. Just do some slow pitch. Pow! See how far we can hit it.
Earl Weaver will tell you. He's like, corked bats work. Get another 20 feet with those bad boys.
And that man speaks the truth, so.
Well, Earl Weaver says it. Then there's another study that said it didn't make a difference. I think it probably does.
A cork back does make a difference. Let's ask Sammy Sosa. Well, he had, steroids too, but.
Riku Nikita is in the Chicago White Sox organization. He played baseball at Oregon. And he could have used aluminum, but he didn't. He used wood in college ball. And he hit a couple of dingers with it too. All right. Our shit just cuts off. Missed my entire Ole Miss recruiting saga. Should have been a Kentucky Hilltopper. Let's get some music for Cleveland Spires talk.
All right, we're back. So we have a timer over there. and we have the camera over there. We on a race against time. We have 27 minutes per cycle. So what we're going to do is, I know that one was opera music. We're going to put in this one. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure it's badass. I'm going to barely crank it up. Right? There we go. Okay, so what we're going to get into, our last little talking point here, is the wonderful year that was 1899.
1899.
1899.
The invention of the shapeable balloon. You ever see a clown
Correct.
make a balloon into like a wiener dog? Or make it into a hat?
Correct.
Invented in 1899 by name Barnaby Williamson.
Okay. All I remember
Civil War veteran.
from my experience of 1899 was it was hard to find food.
That's true. I ate a lot of catfish that year.
We struggled with food. It wasn't our fault. Jobs were scarce.
Yep.
The wagon we had broke down, so we were kind of stuck where we were. But then, this is where the change changed for the better.
Yep.
The Cleveland Spiders came around.
Cleveland Spiders.
That year, they were around before then. But 1899,
That was the year.
that was just what brought hope in my life.
That was the year. So,
I'm gonna turn this bad boy down so I don't leave it running for an hour.
1899, as everybody knows, the year we landed on the moon.
Dirt
and
bikes
also
were invented.
broke the land speed record. And I can't remember where else. I think the Titanic sunk in 1899.
Dirt bikes were invented.
Dirt bikes were invented.
Came into production in 1900.
Wasn't invented, but the patent for the first
Yeah,
robotic snake, 1899. A lot of people don't know that.
My dad was born.
Yep. And I
Hold on a
was.
second. How was I 9 and my dad was born at the same time?
That's common knowledge. It's common knowledge.
It was different back then. Don't worry about it.
I was 16.
Don't worry
but
about it.
I was 16 and I was an executive for Standard Oil. And if you don't think about Standard Oil, I was making about $16 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to Al Capone's #1 bookie and I said, here's every fucking last penny I have. 16 million Cleveland Spiders winning it all. World Series champs. 1899. Get fucking ready. I laid that bet in January of 1899.
I remember.
I walked in there confident.
remember.
I was a little drunk.
A little
A little drunk. But I was confident as fuck. I was like, this is the Spiders' year. You don't see them coming.
I remember you came to the kitchen during breakfast and you were amped.
That was the year.
You said, we're going to do it. Season bet. Yes, we can. Yes, you will.
Let's do a little autopsy on how that bet turned out for me.
Well, we're going to get
1899 Spiders put me in the poorhouse, and that's why we're eating catfish, because they went 20 wins and 134 losses.
not that bad of a year.
Not that
in
bad.
retrospect.
Not that bad in retrospect. Worst season in baseball history. Nobody's ever been that bad.
Nor will they ever again.
They're Pythagorean, if you're familiar with the Sabre stuff, where you just look at the runs produced versus the runs allowed. They should have been a 26-win team instead of a 20-win team. So they got hosed. Some bad luck there. Out of 6 wins. Heck of a roster. Also, Cleveland Spiders history. I think they played in a series. So I was like, how bad was the franchise generally? Maybe 6 years before this season, they won basically the pennant and went to the championship series, which wasn't the World Series then, and then they won that. So they weren't horrible. But what screwed the Spiders was the same guy that owned, I think, the St. Louis Browns owned the Spiders. So before the season, he took all the best dudes off of the Spiders and sent them to St. Louis. And after that point, Major League Baseball stepped in and says you can't just loot one team for another because it makes the league uncompetitive. And so you weren't allowed to own more than one team after that 1899 season.
Last year, I guess a more equivalent to that modern times would be last year. Oakland only won 50 games.
I've seen some 50-win seasons. The Royals sucked last year. There's been some 100-loss seasons in there, but
I was just trying to think. I remember that. So because I remember that season, obviously. So now I was like, the more, I guess, I'm saying equivalent to modern times, was before 05, the 2003 Detroit Tigers lost 119 games, only won 43. But compared to those, the 1899 team, I mean, these guys are fucking.
You want to hear some offensive leaders?
Yeah, let's do it.
Home run leaders.
I'm laughing because I've never been over this. It's fucking,
2.
It's terrible.
2 homers.
That dude was a star, dude.
There's 4 guys with 2 actually. Charlie Hemphill, Jim Duncan, and Charles Zimmer, and old Tommy Dowd. Tommy Dowd was a starter.
Tommy Dowd's a 4-spot hitter for sure.
Yeah, Tommy Dowd. Let me find the highest.
I keep laughing because
this is crazy,
terrible,
man. Let me find the highest OPS on the team. This guy only played in 30 games. I don't know if what happened if he just walked off because his team sucked, but Charles Zimmer's one bright spot. He played in 20 games, only 20 games, and he hit 2 homers. So he's like a team leader with just 2 homers.
I'm laughing because you said he after 30 games. Like, that's pretty rough if you give up after 30 games.
Well, he played 20 games. I don't know what happened to him, but he hit 342. His OPS was 887. So for 20 games, old Charles Zimmer was a bright spot. But I would say the leading batter would have been old Joe Quinn. No, that's not right. Nah, I guess it was Joe Quinn. Man, these guys sucked. I mean, you're barely getting on-base percentages over 300, let alone upper 300s. These dudes are hitting 250. That's tough. So the lineup was, Joe Spudden, Tommy Tucker, Joe Quinn, Harry Lockhead, Suter Sullivan, Dick Hartley, Sport McAllister, and Tommy Dowd. Primarily, I mean, I think you switched shortstops there halfway through the season. And that was another thing, man. We were looking at them Cleveland Spiders. The reason I got on, I mean, I think I knew that, but I was looking for in StatHead which pitcher had got screwed the most unearned runs.
We were talking about this, and I was crying because it was. We're
it's
like this
he's just up on the mound, just like these mother.
Like, I'm pitching a good game, fucking catch a goddamn ball.
Pick up a ground ball.
Like, that's
please.
a routine
Mercy.
ground ball. And I wonder, like, also, like, it'd be funny to know, like, how many of it wasn't drop balls, but it was simply thrown over the first baseman can't glove it, right?
Yeah.
It's just like.
And it was old Jim Huey. Jim Huey got screwed. Jim Huey was 4 wins and 30 losses.
God damn, dude.
One of your aces, really.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Him and another guy had 4 wins, but 4 and 30, 74 unearned runs throughout the season. That's just kicking the nuts.
I know wins and losses don't matter that much, but goddamn, 430 kind of does.
Jim Huey, last man to lose 30 games in a season. 1899. Nobody's lost 30 games in a season since. You want to hear another one?
That dude said
you think you're having a tough life?
You said your ace went 4 and 30? God damn.
If you think you're having a tough life, talk to Harry Cauliflower. That's his name.
What
Cauliflower.
a fucking joke that guy is, huh?
No, Harry's a hard son of a gun because he had to live with the name Harry Cauliflower. He went 1-11 with an 8 ERA. He was one of the younger guys. Well, no, he wasn't. He was 30 when he was doing that. Harry Cauliflower, eventually out of major leagues, became an umpire. And he umped in the majors for a little bit. Harry Cauliflower, when the opposing teams found out his last name was Cauliflower, they pooped all over him and hurt his feelings, and he didn't like that. So when he was umping, he'd change his last name, to like Smith or something. And then he umped around some other minor leagues and stuff for a while. But you go 1-11 with them Cleveland Spiders.
A grown-ass man getting offended by his last name?
Well, I don't know, man. You're just going to mess with him.
Oh, man.
But, yeah, man, there's no help defensively, no help offensively. And dudes are just getting shellacked, and dudes can't pick up a ground ball. Terrible. Jim Huey was 4 and 30. Charlie Nepper was 4 and 22. Frank Bates Frank Bates,
whole
1
team.
win, 18 losses.
Whew, 1 win.
1 in 18.
God damn.
Hot dog.
But
That's
that
a
one
tough
game,
one.
whew, he pitched like, whew, he was the best pitcher that game of the
Goodness
year.
gracious. Really, Jim Huey was your ace because he had the lowest earned run average at 5.41. The next lowest one was a 2-game winner. This guy's name is Crazy Schmidt. Crazy Schmidt was 2 and 17.
What I'm thinking is that a lot of this could have been solved if their offense would have just done some shit. Because if your ERA is 5, yeah, it's not good, but it's not like the worst thing.
But
ever.
these dudes just weren't going to put up 6 runs for you. That's what it came down to. These dudes weren't going to score. Man, but yeah, the ownership didn't help them. They gutted the team, and that was the last season of the Cleveland Spiders.
You know, I would. What was the year? Okay, so the year before that, 1898. Were they that bad too? Was it the same players? Was it like
They were pretty bad. They weren't 20 and 134 bad, but they weren't good.
But was it the same collective of players?
Some.
Okay.
Some, but a lot of the stars again ended up on the St. Louis
So these
Browns.
dudes had no business playing professional baseball.
maybe,
right?
maybe not.
But then again, you don't have a huge selection of players to choose from either back then.
There's pictures of them here, as Baseball Reference does. They're all pretty hilarious haircuts. A lot of these dudes did the middle part. Like, look at that guy. Like, you're parting it down the middle.
That looks like that's a Hogness Wagner haircut.
I don't know why we're not parting our hair down the middle more these days.
That looks like that guy reminds me of Hogness Wagner.
Honest Wagner was so good. I looked
Yeah,
at
he
his
was.
numbers the other day. He
He's
was
beast mode.
so good.
He's a beast mode.
He was insanely good. Let's see here. They were absolutely terrible offensively. It was insane.
With the unearned average cracks me up, dude.
I mean, you're really only scoring 2-3 runs a game if you're lucky with this team, and your pitching wasn't going to get it done. So,
Like, dude, for those years, not just that year, but those 3, 4, or 5 years that they were shitty. That dude, whew, being a fan. Whew, man, that's why people drink.
Joe Quinn was their best here. He had 72 RBIs, honestly, 176 hits, 24 doubles. Joe Quinn was your one bright spot, I guess.
Joe Quinn probably was like, these RBIs don't fucking matter. No one else is going to do a damn thing.
Gracious. But yeah, they got some. Harry Cauliflower had a tough go of it. But I was like, why are they called the Spiders? Also, that's a terrible. You know, that's like a terrible logo. It would look bad if you're trying to sell stuff. It doesn't even sound appealing to families.
Isn't there a college called the Richmond Spiders?
Yeah, there is the Spiders.
Yeah.
These guys apparently were called the Spiders because the first year the team was in the league, they had like the home whites with maybe like black stockings. You know, you're wearing like knee highs, but they're all kind of like tall, skinny dudes. So they look like they all had like spider legs. So they got called the Cleveland Spiders. At least that's what I read. So I don't know.
I'm sorry, but that's a dumb reason to name your team.
And the Cleveland Spiders, Major League Baseball didn't like that record, didn't like what the ownership had done, gutting the team to favor another team. And that was the last season of the Cleveland Spiders, and nobody has sucked that hard since that day. And that's something to be proud of.
No one ever will.
That's something to be proud of, those Cleveland Spiders. But no, name your team the Spiders, I would say. And I don't know. You know, that's a good story there, them Cleveland Spiders. Greatest teams ever amassed. And 1899 was a big year for me. I lost everything, got fired by Standard Oil, and, you know, went into vaudeville. You know, basically joined the circus and went from there.
Like I said, I was 9. My dad was born that year. I mean, yeah, I remember tough times.
I jumped on that train. I found the circus master, the ringmaster. I was like, "You hiring?" He's like, "Can you shovel elephant shit?" And I was like, "I can."
I learned at 9 years old to love my daffodil flower soup.
Yeah. But well, good stuff, man.
Damn, it was left.
Who knows what we talked about? Because so much got cut off today.
Yeah,
We did
so
like 3 shows.
There's gonna be things that are cut out randomly to make space to put like for breaks, you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, it was good talking about that stuff.
1899.
Year I'll never forget. But yeah, so unfortunately, there's a lot of good stuff. Like our little politics talk. It was mainly jokes and stuff. It wasn't serious, but
Yeah.
We'll have to talk about that again.
Politics.
Yeah.
My penchant for Armageddon.
Yeah.
I'm looking for the end of times. You know.
I don't know about you, dude, but I like the number 3, so I'm going to turn this
So
up.
number 3, that's the outro music.
We're going to close it out here with this one.
Thanks for tuning in. I hope we educated you guys at live. Our 10,000 viewers. It doesn't show up. That's what I'm thinking about YouTube. I realized I had an epiphany. I was like, I bet about 10 million people watch this show. It just doesn't show up in the numbers. Stats aren't right.
Some people get irritated when people don't watch their show and there's content. And in a way, I understand. It is kind of like frustrating in a way where you do something every week and you put a lot of effort into it and time and stuff and no one gives a shit. I get that, but at this point, I'm like, I understand because talking baseball for an hour and a half, it's not something a lot of people would want to listen to. You know, not like the people that we know, yeah, they do, but like I'm saying, like just a casual fan, like, yeah.
But you know who is watching it with his translator?
Ohtani?
Mr. Nakatomi.
Oh, Nakatomi. That's right.
He never misses a show.
He, like I said, I'll say this.
A lot of shows, but benefactor.
Because we got 10 minutes before this thing shuts off, so we'll wrap it up.
Wrap it.
Wrap it up like I don't know what I was going to try to say.
Wrap it up like a sausage in a tortilla.
Put that wiener between the bun. I don't know where that came from. But yeah.
Okay, that's why I got a sausage wrap at Texas State.
Those are good. Very good.
Sausage.
Oh, that sounds good as fuck, dude.
T's next segment, track down Bonnie. We're going to delve into his professional and amateur career.
Yeah, hopefully, maybe I'll we can text him whatever we do, and hey, man, would you be interested in doing like a little thing with us?
Dig into his shutdown Pedro stats.
Could have been Pedro before Pedro.
He was Pedro before Pedro. The pros missed on him.
Their fault. But you know what? He's doing pretty good for
just
himself.
Just like they missed on Jason Landreth, and shout out to Eric Benavides who just followed me. Benny.
You know what? I'll say Jason's doing pretty good for himself now.
Man,
so it all worked out.
Guy.
All worked out.
Love it, Crickets for life.
Go Dogs. I just think it's a funny phrase. Go Jaguars.
Go Jaguars.
2024 is our year, buddy.
Damn Jaguars.